The Kestrel Tri and TT bike frame sizer is designed to help you pick out which models and which sizes of Kestrel frames are likely to work for you based upon your measurements and fit parameters. To use the calculator, you just need to enter two simple body measurements. You need to enter your inseam or your saddle height. You can choose here which one you prefer to enter, and your floor to shoulder measurement. Once those measurements are entered, the relevant fit parameters are calculated here. So for a tri bike or a TT bike, what we are really interested in is, based upon a certain saddle position, how far away the front end is from the saddle. That being, how far are the armrest cups from the nose of the saddle, and that's what we mean by minimum cup reach. So this is nose of saddle to back edge of cups. And how low is the front end relative to the saddle? That would be the drop from the saddle seating surface down to the armrests. So the calculator shows you in centimeters how much drop you're going to get with each frame and how much cup reach you're going to get with each frame. Based upon your saddle position, it's determined from your body measurements. Note that by default, the computer selects a seat angle of 79 degrees. This is a seat angle that works great for, I would say, the majority of riders in the tri and aero position. So if you don't really know what seat angle you should be riding at, you just leave this at 79 degrees, and that's going to give you a pretty good idea. It's going to be a pretty good bet. If you do happen to know the seat angle or the saddle nose setback that you should be at, or that a fitter has told you should be at, you can certainly change this seat angle, and that's going to change the position of your saddle, and it's going to change these reach and drop measurements somewhat. If you know the drop that you're looking for and or the reach that you're looking for, then you can use this to pretty easily zoom in on which frame is likely to work for you. But the computer does try to do this for you by making an educated guess and running through three tests. First, it's going to look at the maximal saddle height achievable on a particular frame, and it's also going to look at the standover of that frame to make sure that either of them are usable. For instance, if someone with a relatively short inseam of 69 centimeters, most of these frames are going to come up as too big for that person because the standover height is too high for a person with that short of an inseam. If we look at a much larger person with a 95 centimeter inseam, you'll see that most of the frames pop up as too small because you simply can't get the saddle high enough to accommodate the required saddle height for a person of that size. The second test is to look at the reach range. And so once your parameters are entered here, it's going to give you an approximate cup reach here for this person of 37 plus or minus 2 centimeters. And it's going to look at, for each frame, the minimum and maximal cup reach that's achievable based upon the stock equipment on that frame. And so this person's looking for probably 37 plus or minus 2 centimeters, and you'll see that a number of these frames can fit within that reach range. So you get a star next to all the frames that do pass or meet the relevant reach range. Finally, it's going to look at that drop measure that we talked about, saddle seating surface down to armrests. We have made some assumptions here as to where the drop should be relative to the rider's size, but those are not set in stone. So if the drop test doesn't pass, you're going to get a maybe here as a possible fit. And that still means that the reach is okay, and maybe, by changing some things, the drop is okay. Also, if you know perhaps that you need a particularly low amount of drop or a particularly high amount of drop relative to your frame size, then the ones that say maybe may be just fine. So once again, it's going to help, of course, if you know what drop and reach range you're really looking for here. The computer does allow you to change 3 parameters for each frame, however. They let you further dial this in. First, you can change from an SL model to an SE model, and the SL model uses the relatively high stack, shorter reach profile bars, whereas the SE model uses the lower stack, longer reach zip bars. So this gives you an idea of what changing those parameters will do to the fit of the bike, how they'll change the drop and how they'll change the reach, and of course the computer then, based on that, makes a guess as to whether the frame is likely to fit you. The stem lengths listed here are the default stems, stem lengths and stem angles are the default stems that come with these bikes right out of the box. Of course, you can change stem length and you can change stem angle. So for instance, if you are looking at a 4000 and you know that your drop needs to be, say, 12 centimeters or so, you could be looking at this and you see there's a maybe, and you can see that the maximal drop isn't going to get you there. Well, let's try a 17 stem, which is a flat stem, and then we're down to 11.4 centimeters, so that's close. We can get this even lower by using the SE arrow bars, the lower bars, and we can see that you can get the drop all the way down to 13.4. So this is how you can play with some of these components on the bikes themselves to change these max drop and cup reach measures to see how they're going to fit. Of course, you don't have to touch any of these if you're just kind of doing an initial investigation here as to where you should be looking based upon these measurements. You don't have to change any of these things. You can go right with the stock settings here and see what the computer guesses is going to fit you, essentially. And you'll see that for this person on the 4000, it's listing 4 frame sizes as a possible fit, and it's listing 3 of the airfoils as a possible fit. Well, in this case, you're most likely to find the bike that's going to work best for you somewhere in the middle. So, for the 4000, probably a 50 or 52 for this person, and for the airfoil, probably a 52 or a 54. You notice the 54 actually does say yes. The 52 could also work. It's going to be best, of course, again, if you know your particular measurements that you're looking for. If you've had a fit and you know these fit parameters, or you're working with the fitter, then you should be able to very quickly dial in upon which frame is going to work the best for you. You'll also notice that we've added the Talon to the fit computer. Now, the Talon Tri is really a hybrid road tri-bike. It's a road geometry frame with a forward seat post. So therefore, it's not possible in many cases on the Talon to achieve as steep of a seat angle as you can on the other Kestrel Tri bikes. You'll notice here that it says for Talon, the seat angle will be set at the maximum possible angle if you choose a steeper angle than the bike can accommodate. So if we were to scroll down here and look at the Talon section, here you'll see we have the Talons. I'm going to move the, there we go. We see we're here, we have the Talons. And you'll notice that there's an extra 3 columns added to the fit computer here. Seat angle, setback, and saddle stack. So although this person has 79 degrees entered, which comes out to a minus 2.8 centimeter saddle nose setback, you'll notice that for each of the Talon frames here, it's listing the maximum seat angle that they can actually get to based on the constraints of the frame geometry and the seat post, the forward included seat post. So it's showing you the maximum steep or the maximum forward angle approximately that you can achieve at your chosen saddle height. It's also showing you the saddle nose setback. So in the smaller frames, it's still possible to get quite steep with the Talon. However, you notice as the frames get bigger, it's not possible to get quite as steep. So the fit parameters, which are going to be the same essentially as we were talking about for the 4000 in the airfoil previously, are now adjusted to this maximum seat angle. They are not relying on the seat angle shown here. Now, for instance, the smallest Talon would be, because yes, it can achieve a 79 degree, but the other sizes of the Talon frame, you'll notice, are going to be using a slacker seat angle because that is the maximum angle that the Talon can achieve. Of course, if you happen to choose a slacker seat angle here, if that's really what you're looking for, a more middle-of-the-road hybrid position, then we look down here and you'll see you pick 76. Well, all of these frames can achieve a 76 degree angle pretty easily here. So there's going to be no problem then getting the 76 degree angle on any of the talons. And just as with the other frames, you're going to be looking here for the proper mix of drop and cup reach to find your perfect fit.